Welcome back to another episode of the Deeply Rooted Business Podcast. Today is the season recap. So, Jess and I are going to be combing through some of our business goals for the podcast. We'll do a little fun exercise called Start, Stop, Continue, and we'll kind of go through just a little bit of how we felt about the actual season and what we're feeling about taking forward with us.
Yeah, as I'm pulling up our analytics, which we really don't focus on too much. I think we're more of like, do we like doing this? Does it give us to talk about things we like to talk about and give us it does give us good content on the
Yeah.
reg. So definitely worth that way. Yeah, but debrief season 3 already.
Something really funny to add in this is a little behind the scenes sneak peek is that the last half of the season was actually not the original plan. Jess and I had a meeting probably about 3 weeks ago or something, and we said, "Are you feeling these podcast titles? Are you feeling this? How do we want to shift these?" We actually did a full shift and middle of the season planning session to make it a little bit more aligned with what the actual industry is vibing with right now. So I think that was kind of funny that not the original plan, but we are here
Yeah.
to pivot.
But we had a plan and we're ahead. We're recording this a couple of weeks ahead of when this is gonna come out, and that makes me feel good because I like to be ahead on things. We said 3rd season. I think we're up to, like, 35 episodes or something like that, which is crazy. There's really no place where I can find a number really quickly because sometimes we do ten episodes a season, sometimes we do 12. But anyway, we were even outlining it the other day, and Rachel and I were both in our Notion account editing the episode. She's like, "It's crazy that we can just do this together and not even talk about it," because I was plugging in what I wanted to say and she was plugging in what she needed to say. And that's my overall feeling with the podcast is it's gotten out of that uncomfortable, takes forever to doing, trying to figure out the platform where it's just like a routine. We show up, we talk, we get everything published out there. There's not really a lot of hiccups or anything like that. So it just feels good in comparison to like this week. I've had a YouTube channel for forever, but I'm actually have a YouTube strategy now that I'm implementing. And it was really hard. It took me 5 hours to record 5-minute videos, and it took me forever to record everything. You would think that because we get on a podcast and talk that you can do that on YouTube, but that's like really not how YouTube videos work. You have to be a little bit more scripted, and it was hard and it sucked. And it was just a reminder to me with starting anything new, it's always going to be hard and suck the first.
My business mentor always says it's not hard, it's new. And it's a reframe of that because in that beginning stage of just like you not knowing, we're not doing anything really different now in the podcast than what we were doing in the beginning, which took a lot more time and felt a little less clear. Now it just flows in such an effortless way that it's less new. It's getting into that fun stage. So I'm very excited because I think even though we had, maybe we do some re record of some of the original episodes because I think we can riff a little bit better now and provide a little bit more context.
Yeah, for sure. But just reminded me of like us starting out when I was doing that this week. I'm like, this sucked. By the time I got done recording, I was like, I don't want to look at any of these videos. I never want to do that again. But I put it on a calendar, another recording date next month so I could stay consistent with it. But yeah, it was a lot of work and very energetically draining. I didn't want to do anything for the rest of the day. So if that's just a little motivation if you're starting anything new. Let's get into last season. So we're just gonna go through the things that we said that we wanted to start this season, what we did, and how it's going. So the first thing that we wanted to start was Instagram carousels, which we really haven't.
We got the template made. It's one of those things that still takes a lot of time to comb through the content that we're delivering, but we've noticed based off of where our engagement is happening most, it's just not on Instagram. It's in YouTube Shorts, it's on TikTok, and really kind of embracing those areas. This fell to not as much of a priority. So if you listen to last episode where we were talking about business priorities, this was one that I think we could have spent a lot of time on, but I don't think it would have been the best use of our time.
Yeah, and for the next one too, I think there's a theme going here is that we said we wanted to start doing guest episodes. Both of these things didn't happen for a reason that I always harp on that things don't happen. It's because we didn't have a project or process set up to get these in motion. It was like, okay, we want to do carousels. And okay, I got a carousel done. And then it's like there's no process, like, how do we go through and pull that stuff? So I think that's why we, like, intentionally, or maybe not intentionally, but take these breaks in between the seasons is so that we can go back in and shore up the operations. So, like, we
Yeah.
have the carousel. I just need to write a process for my VA to pull, like, what to pull out to put in that carousel because I kind of dumped a task onto her to do it and it didn't turn out right. And that's not her fault because I didn't actually delegate and provide the specific instructions and process to get it to the outcome that I wanted it to come in. So that'll be fixed. Guest episodes.
I literally just made a note to send the link out because we have people who are excited to be a part of the podcast as a guest. Jess has set up this incredible system to capture all of that information. I just need to do it. So put a note here. I'm not removing this paper from my desk until I do it.
Yeah, one of our start things for next could be maybe during one of our Monday meetings, we come up with a list of people we want to invite and just send out pitches to them real quick or something like
Yeah.
that. I feel like that's where it's like you have to finish connecting the dots. And sometimes it just doesn't happen. And then that's why your things don't happen, which is why reflection is really important. Because if we would never go back and reflect on these things, we would have just kept creating new things that we didn't implement. And now we can actually go back and get those things tied up. So we said we wanted to get more active on social accounts. I think we were more active for sure. We definitely were more active posting. I was really good at the beginning of the season of sharing my own personal stories, like here's what's happening. But I think we have room for improvement.
Definitely have a lot of room for improvement there. It's one of those things that is it a big goal for us to grow the podcast and more people can listen to what we're saying? Yes. But I think in form of engagement, we've had a lot of great feedback just come to us organically and we're grateful for that. So if you are listening and you do love the podcast, just reach out to us. Send us a DM. Either DM Jess, DM me. We love to hear it. It really does keep us moving in a direction that is like validation, like, love this, but it's not the like to create polls or to create those things like that kind of fell to the wayside.
So if we're going to darts for next season, but I think one of my starts is definitely going to be outsourcing the podcast editing and publishing piece because I've got that so systemized now where I have step by step, like, this is what I click, this is what I do, this is what I do. I know it takes me an hour and a half to do it. So I know I can write out that process and give it to a VA and it will take them hopefully an hour and a half to do it, probably a little longer the first time because I've been doing it for a little bit. But I feel I'm ready to let that go because just I need that other hour and a half in my business to maybe do some of these other things. Another thing that I really want to start doing is like we're very good about laying out our topics beforehand, but I've been on an SEO learning journey and have a bunch of tools in my tool belt now to be able to make sure that we're picking the right keywords and that we're working those into our titles. I think the way that our episodes, and I don't want to become too scripted, but I think the way that our episodes come out right now is I'm trying to like back into an SEO keyword, but just getting a little more strategic. And that will also help validate our topics too, because if we can't find that people are searching for something that we want to talk about, then maybe we're the only ones that are interested in it, or maybe there's a different verbiage that we can use to be interested in it. So using keyword research with our episode planning for next quarter is on my list.
Yeah, just learn SEO and learning the whole YouTube strategy. I am totally just riding the coattails here. I've always wanted to focus on those two things. I've just never prioritized it in my brain, but Jess is in full on learning mode and we are loving it. So keep
And it's
going.
just What is just not in fully? My new YouTube channel is going to be like, here's what I learned this week, and it's just going to be an episode of like me downloading everything because I love to learn at the expense of my business. Like how we talked in the last episode is like a glass plate or a paper plate, and usually my paper plate is learning, and I will let my glass break. They won't break; they'll get a little shaky, really close to the ground before. I'm like, oh, I need to stop learning and actually do the things that make me money in my business right. Okay, so anything we wanna stop doing?
So we stopped managing the publishing and the promoting of the videos and everything. So I've handed that off. I still have the strategic part of picking the videos out, but I'm no longer scheduling and in the weeds of it. So the time consuming tasks, actually getting it onto the platform and doing all of that, not on my list anymore because I have such a neurodivergent brain that I will forget and just not do it. So that's handed off. I'm super, super proud of that. One of my quarterly goals was to hire a new marketing VA. Check, done. She's fabulous. So yeah, what about you?
So mine was just stop publishing the task. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I wanna stop doing. No, I mean, the only thing I do for the podcast is show up and publish, but I'm gonna stop publishing.
Stop showing up.
Also, stop ghosting my email list and at least just send them my podcast episode.
I literally was thinking about that the other day because I was trying to really be strategic with my newsletters to sell the new product. But I was like, but honestly, so much of this content is so good that it just needs to go to. So, yeah, no other things that I want to stop doing.
So then continue. We love our co-working meetings on Mondays. Do we have them every Monday? No. Do we have them enough that it makes our life easier when we sit down to record? Yes. We love
Yep.
our strategic plan meetings. We want to get even more strategic with our strategic planning meetings. I think Rachel could go deep into this, but our scripting strategy, maybe y'all notice, let us know. Do we sound too scripted now? Do we sound more cohesive and like we actually have a plan of what we're talking about and not just like free, like gonna say freelancing it, but free whatever it free
Yeah, it's not so much of a super scripted strategy. We really just framework and outline, and for both of us, put little marks of saying, like, this is something we can riff on. Oh, this isn't really something we want to riff on. Here's a little bit more structure there. So we're very intentional with how our brains work in that scripting process so that come time to record the episode, even if we've had the busiest of days or the busiest of weeks and our brains are just not participating, we at least then have a structure that can give and still deliver a really good episode. So I've loved that effective scripting strategy. And especially now, because I think if it was in this episode where Jess and I were saying we can work at the same exact time on our co workings to really flesh out a really solid outline pretty effectively. We're like, oh, that sounds great. Oh, don't love that. Like, oh, great, great, great. And Jess is doing her part, I'm doing our part, and they just connect so well.
Well, and I think another really cool side effect of scripting this way is obviously Rachel and I have both done a lot of learning and have a lot of experience, but it's actually being able to put how I approach a certain subject into a tangible framework, into like well, I guess it's our tangible framework. So a lot will be like, oh, we're going to approach this from start, stop, continue, or we're going to approach this from like starting, stretching, and scaling. We have different frameworks that we go back to over and over again of how we approach different issues that we're trying to help people solve in their business. And overall boosted my confidence that I actually know what I'm talking about because I can.
I think it's been so much fun to show off our brain powered things like that. It's definitely, I completely agree. Definitely given me more confidence as well.
It says we outlined all the episodes before the season starts, but maybe we did and then we just like threw everything in the trash can. We at least outlined what we wanted to talk about in each episode. And then we threw everything in the trash can and was able, not everything, but a lot of the episodes in the trash can and was able to pivot to things that were more relevant to the current business landscape, which was good and which could have not happened if we hadn't done the proactive planning before and been a little bit of ahead in our recording schedule.
So, start to continue for season 3. It's wrap. Well, we're not taking a very long break. We're taking a pretty quick, fast, and efficient one. And then we'll have some really fun guest episodes coming too. I don't know when we'll actually get those scheduled, but very, very excited for those and excited for the next season because they only just keep getting better. Like, honestly.
And let us know. I feel we've tried to be like a pretty holistic view of business, but if there's anything that we haven't talked about or an issue that you're having in your business that you'd like us to talk about or discuss, or a topic that you'd be interested in hearing more about us, maybe we grazed over it in a past episode and you want us to go deeper on it, let us know. You can either just DM us on Instagram or TikTok or one of those places. Make sure you follow along so you get notified when our next episode airs. I think right now we're thinking sometime in June. If you make sure to subscribe, you'll get notified. As always, if you love our show, make sure you share it with a business bestie to help us grow. And until next time,
We're rooting.
we're